Project live here on from the fortified compound in Mesa, Arizona. It is Wednesday the 10th, Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. And glad to be back. People can start filing into the big show here. And I'm sorry for missing Monday. I think I mentioned I was not going to be doing the stream on Monday. My daughter was actually graduating, which was really cool. And I found out something I did not know on Monday. Well, I already knew how much I hated driving through Tempe, especially when there's an event like that, but totally worth it. Still worth it. But there's actually a Surgeon General still. I had no idea. I think he was there for Obama, and then, of course, there was no Surgeon General for a while under this scumbag. You could, whoa, we're going to be talking about this piece of garbage, this SOB. But there's actually, a Surgeon General. I thought that was something that just wasn't even a thing, like 20 years ago. It's still a thing. So I found that out at ASU. He unfortunately doesn't know when to stop talking. Although some of us, this won't be one of those times. I can't do I'm going to do as much, I'm going to get about a half hour here tonight. So we'll see what happens. And if you want to help support the stream so I can do more streams more frequently, you can do so by looking in the description. The links are in the description, and any support is appreciated. And got to get to this. This been a good week for a lot of things. I mean, personally, my daughter graduating, ASU, that was very nice. I was glad to be able to participate and do that and see. Actually, right, the same day, found out that a personal problem here with the house, basically not going to have a functioning kitchen for about 8 weeks. So that really, really sucks. I know people saying, dude, the house isn't even 20 years old. Yeah, I know. But it's a money pit. It is a money pit. Hopefully this is the last big thing for a while, because if it's not, I'm going to probably be, I may find myself homeless. So that's always fun to find out. But then also on Monday, jury finds Trump liable for sexual abuse in E. Jean Carroll case. So you got to do a slow clap here. Couldn't have happened to a bigger piece of garbage than this, right? Finally, I know he's been indicted. He was also indicted in New York, 34 counts of falsifying business records, which he used to brag about. Because when you're rich, when you're a star, you can do whatever you want. And generally, that is true. So here, it's just like him being the first ex-president indicted or indicated, as he said, as he tweeted, or truth, whatever that is. He is now another first. Should have that winning GIF up with from years ago. The first ex-president to be found liable, because it wasn't a criminal prosecution. It wasn't criminal. It was civil. First ex-president liable for sexual abuse. I know there's going to be those who are going to say, it's all fake. It's all fake. He wasn't actually sued. It's all fake. All fake. Mark, how can you possibly believe something from the mainstream media? It's all fake. Literally fake. I'm not going to have the time to cover that poor reasoning tonight, but suffice to say, it's a generalization, and it's really... really bad reasoning. So just because this comes from Politico, or you could do a DuckDuckGo search and you can see 100 independent, you can actually go and you can see the court filings. I mean, his own lawyer, he is tested. I mean, so spare me in the comments the fake news. Even he as big a piece of garbage as he is, this piece of garbage, even he's not saying that the jury decision is fake news, that there was no actual civil case that he lost. Wow, the verdict was announced in a federal courtroom on Monday. Well, sorry. The verdict, I don't get to edit the live streams. The verdict was announced in a federal courtroom in Manhattan on the first day of jury deliberations. Oh, it warms my heart, because there's a whole life this piece of garbage has gotten away with cheating people and bullying people and ruining people's lives. Finally, he may never say, he's probably going, if we'll get into this, how much it was. If he pays anything, it won't be him directly. It'll be his cult followers that will send him money for NFTs and for campaign contributions. Well, we'll get to the campaign stuff, because this is a double header. In New York, a federal grand jury on Tuesday found that Donald Trump sexually abused and defamed E. Jean Carroll, a writer who accused the former president of attacking her in a department store dressing room in the 1990s. The verdict in a civil trial marks the first time that Trump, who has been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 24 women, has been held legally responsible for sexual assault. And the first ex-president. This is big. The elite of the elite here as an ex-president. Although that doesn't always hold true, at least, from in modern times it always did, except for Jimmy Carter. And it adds fresh tarnish to the former president's reputation as he seeks to regain the White House amid a tide of legal troubles. The 9-person jury ordered Trump to pay Carroll $5 million. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. 3 hours before returning the verdict in federal court in Manhattan. Nice. Carroll testified that Trump raped her in the dressing room after a chance encounter one evening in the spring of 1996. The jury found that Carroll did not prove by a preponderance of the evidence that Trump raped her. But the jury did find him liable for sexual abuse and for defamation. The defamation count arose from a statement Trump made last year in which he called Carroll's allegations a hoax. He called everything a hoax he doesn't agree with. Nice. I filed this lawsuit against Donald Trump to clear my name and to get my life back. Carroll said in a statement after the jury, "Today, the world finally knows the truth." Now, the world pretty much knows. Most people understand that this guy is a piece of garbage. And his defense was, she's not my type. But then looking at a picture of E. Jean Carroll from the 90s, he thought it was his ex-wife, Marla Maples. So you can see the deposition. So no one is above the law, she said, not even a former president of the United States. I don't think he's ever going to see time in jail. He should die in prison. But this is something. This is something. Trump lawyer Joe Tocopina said Trump would appeal. No kidding. They rejected the rape claim, and they always claim this is a rape case, so it's a little perplexing, but we move forward. No, they said it was a rape, sexual assault, and defamation case. So I'm speaking as a non-lawyer here. But that's what the case was about. What a stupid thing to say. They rejected one of the claims. They didn't say it was a single claim. I mean, how stupid is that? I mean, the guy knows there's a defamation part to this. He added he had spoken to the former president. He's firm in his belief, like many people are, that he cannot get a fair trial in New York City based on the jury pool. And I think one could argue that that's an accurate assessment based on what happened today. I would go so far as to say that anytime Trump is put on trial, if he's put on trial again, well, he's going to be on trial for the criminal that he's indicted. And hopefully the floodgates are open, that he's going to be indicted in Georgia and other places. But there was a recently, I think it was 8 fake electors took an immunity deal. That is good news if you want to see this piece of garbage held accountable. Probably would be best to have a judge do it, but you can't do that legally. Then you can't have a judge, but then you got the problem, well, was it a Republican or a Democrat that appointed the judge? So, wow. This is, Trump did not testify. I will give him this. Trump not testifying, his lawyer actually did something right. You should never testify in your own defense. That's my personal belief. That's the way I look at it. I'm here because Donald Trump raped me, Carol 79 told the jury. When I wrote about it, he said it didn't happen. He lied and shattered my reputation. I'm here to get my life back. Well, I'm glad she got some initial something that could be called justice here. Wow. Let me see. Oh, I see. I can't do it here. I'm going to try to play some of this so we can see some of this. Maybe we can see this piece of garbage doing his testimony here. See if this will.
I don't even know who the woman. Let's see. I don't know who. It's Marla.
That's it.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla. Yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here.
Carol.
Oh, is that?
The person you just pointed to was
I
E.
see.
Jean Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this?
Point, your wife.
So what he did there, he mistook someone who's not supposedly not his type, E. Jean Carroll, and mistook her to be his wife, is one of his other ex-wives, Marla Maples.
And the woman on the right is your then wife.
I don't know.
Ivana?
This was the picture. I assume that's John Johnson. Is that
That's Carol.
Because it's very blurry. That she's not my type? Yeah, because it's not politically correct to say it, and I know that, but I'll say it anyway. Oh. She's accusing me of rape. A woman that I have no idea who she is. It came out of the blue. She's accusing me of rape, of raping her. The worst thing you can do, the worst charge.
That's the worst charge?
And you know it's
That's the worst charge. Rape is really bad, but I would think that a rape and murder would be worse. And then the rape and murder of a child would be worse. Everything's a superlative with this jackass. Everything is numbers no one's ever imagined before. I think we get the point here. I can't take too much of listening to this guy speak, but everything is a hoax. Everything is a witch hunt. It's just made up. Wow. But let's now go over to what is made up. Okay. Almost the entire life story of this piece of Myrda. This happened also on Monday. George Santos, who is a sitting member of Congress, George Santos pleads not guilty to federal indictment and says he won't resign. Well, that's because look, they're all bad, but it's obvious that Republicans are 100 shades of corruption worse because there's no bottom. There's no bottom. You can talk about Jewish space lasers and you don't lose your committees. This guy lied about almost everything about him. He lied about his mother dying in 9/11. She didn't. Wasn't. So my daughter graduated on Monday. Trump was found responsible for sexual assault and defamation on Monday. And George Santos was indicted. And he pled not guilty to a federal indictment today. Oh, yesterday. I guess that was yesterday. That is, wow. Central Islip. I actually have some experience there because I used to live on Long Island. I worked for a time before I moved out. I did some temp work, and I actually worked across the street in Islip from the Entenmann's building, which is, it's not as fun as you would think. It was actually a kind of a form of torture. So if you know, Entenmann's is the baking, you know, they make baked goods and cookies and these donuts and the crumb cake. Oh yeah. I can't mention the crumb cake too often because the Entenmann's, I won't be able to finish the show. And if you're not familiar with the Entenmann's crumb cake or their cookies, do yourself a favor and get some today. Oh, this. You're good. I think what set this guy apart was that he lied about things that, I mean, he lied about everything. Trump doesn't lie about every aspect of his life. He was involved in real estate. That's true. There's no question. And, you know, he was a reality TV personality. That's true. This guy, George Santos, and we got to put, there he is. There he is. This guy over here. This guy lied about almost every aspect of his life. And the idea of a sitting congressman, now it's happened before. So it's always really good to see one of these pieces of crap, this pile of murder, this lying, held accountable. Doesn't mean he's going to go to prison, but let's get into this. U.S. Rep. George Santos, infamous for fabricating a live story, pleaded not guilty Wednesday to charges he duped donors, stole from his campaign, and lied to Congress about being a millionaire, all while cheating to collect unemployment benefits he didn't deserve. He wasn't lying about being a welfare queen, I guess. Wow. See, and that's the thing about stealing from the campaign. That's something Trump did bigly. He pardoned Steve Bannon, who raised money to build a wall, and then they just pocketed it. They just kept it. Trump took money under false pretenses, millions, that was supposed to go to legal fees about the so-called stolen election, and none of it went to that. He pocketed millions of dollars. Millions of dollars he still has to do NFTs. So maybe that's coming down the pike. We got a sitting congressman who is being held to some account. We don't know yet. Afterward, he said he would not drop his re-election bid and defies calls to resign. Because why would he? Why would he? Al Franken resigned over a stupid photograph. Bad taste. Still resigned. This guy lies about everything, lies to Congress, won't resign. There's no shame. There's absolutely, corruption rammed down your throat. In your face corruption. Vafangul, I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how much I've lied. And he has actually on record admitted to lying. I didn't say I was Jewish. I was Jewish. That's the guy. That's the guy. Oh. Santos, it's a 13 count. I may have gotten that. All right. It's a 13 count federal indictment, was a reckoning for a web of fraud and deceit that prosecutors say overlapped with the New York Republicans' fantastical public image as a wealthy businessman, a fictional biography that began to unravel after he won election last year. And none of it matters to people in the government. None of it matters to someone like McCarthy. None of it matters. It's just like that scumbag, what's her name? Dianne Feinstein. Not showing up to work, gets to keep her job because, hey, privilege. It's a privilege to be rich and to have power. You don't even have to do the damn job, and they won't kick you out. And they won't kick her out. They won't remove her. All right, let's get back here. Santos 34. Is he actually 34? Can that be proven, or is he lying about that too? He was released on a $500,000 bond following his arraignment. about 5 hours after turning himself in to face charges of wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. He surrendered his passport and could face up to 20 years. 20 years. This is the beginning of the ability for me to address and defend myself. A cheerfully combative Santos told reporters swarming him outside a Long Island federal courthouse. He said he's been cooperating with the investigation and vowed to fight the prosecution, which he labeled a witch hunt. You have the IRS knock on your door. Have the IRS admit that they can't prove the accusations against you. Have them admit on record. Can't prove it? Don't think they have to. And then tell me about a witch hunt. Have all that on record, on a CD, and have the U.S. attorney insist you're just making conclusory statements with no supporting evidence. And come back to me and tell me about a witch hunt. His lawyer, Joseph Murray, was more circumspect, saying at any time the federal government comes after you, it's a serious case. We have to take this serious. Yeah. I think we're seeing that the wheels of justice grind slow, but they grind fine, said, Mitt Romney. Vafangul, okay. Yeah. Among the allegations, prosecutors say Santos created a company and then induced supporters to donate to it under the false pretense that the money would be used to support his campaign. Instead, they say he used the money for personal expenses, including designer clothes and credit card and car payments. Santos also is accused of lying about his finances on congressional disclosure forms and obtaining unemployment benefits while he was making $120,000 as a regional director of an investment firm that the government shut down in 2021 over allegations that it was a Ponzi scheme. Wow, this guy. The indictment seeks to hold Santos accountable for various alleged fraudulent schemes and brazen misrepresentations. U.S. Attorney Breon Peace said, I'm no fan of U.S. attorneys. Believe me. They're not much, I don't know you can say they're any better than the piece of garbage. Taken together, the allegations in the indictment charge Santos with relying on repeated dishonesty and deception to ascend to the halls of Congress and enrich himself. Well, that's what they all do, is to enrich themselves. That's why you have insider trading. That's why you have people sitting on committee making decisions about businesses, and then you can follow. They post it on Politico, stuff like that. With that information, if they'll take that information and buy or sell a stock and make millions. Not to mention how unbelievably corrupt the attorneys are at the Supreme Court. I mean, it is at least George Santos levels of cartoonish corruption, and yet they keep their jobs. So it's good to see something is being done. Again, it's in the AP. It could all be fake. This could all be completely fabricated, and there'll be someone here on the internet, and they'll say, they're just trying to distract you from what they're really trying to do to you, and that is to take your guns and to do this and to rape you and to take your children. It's always that tagline. It's just fake news to distract you from what they're really doing, which never seems to come to fruition anyway. So bravo. This is an example. So I would say that when they go after a sitting president or an ex-president, and they're going after sitting members of Congress, that they've got their facts. They've got their facts. They got the facts so they're not going to go after a sitting congressman if they don't have the goods. They got the goods on the guy. So a month before his election, Santos transferred about $74,000 from the company to bank accounts he maintained. The indictment said he also transferred money to some of his associates. It said, so I'm pretty certain that this is a money trail. He's transferring money to bank accounts. So that this is all just documents. You get them on documents. You don't need testimony other than to confirm the veracity, the truth of what's on those documents. So, wow, that is wow, smashing. So I'm going to put that up there, and I'm going to just address some of our comments because it looks like they're coming fast and furious, and I want to address some of that. Let's see what we've got here. Holy crap. I can't get... my Mark, you rock, brother. Team of angels. Thank you. My dog Rex. Mark is so in love with Trump, he can't stop talking about him. You know, I'm going to take a minute here and I actually praise someone like Larry Krasner and all the things. Said if I lived in Philly, he's the district attorney there. If I lived in Philly, I'd register to vote and I'd vote for him. And yet I'm not accused of being in love with Larry Krasner. What a stupid thing to say. That was I in love with Obama when I was talking about all the drone strikes? Because I talked about it all the time. Am I in love with George W. Bush because I talked about him being a war criminal all the time? You log in just to say that. Mark, have you heard the interview with the victim is in quotes? No, I didn't. As though a New York jury is not prejudiced. Every jury is going to have some kind of prejudice. It's almost impossible to get a completely unprejudiced jury. You should listen to the Anderson Cooper video. It's very telling. Well, what's interesting, you can't go by what's presented outside of court. You can only go by what the jury was presented in court. And the jury found him responsible. And my point is finally this steaming pile of orange murder is being held to some account. That's what's important here, that some rich, entitled, privileged, elite pile of crap is finally for the second time in his life being held to some account. Rape is an state issue, not federal. Well, it can be. What they did was that they did expand the statute of limitations. What about the congressional rape hush fund? Come on, Mark. Congress. They're bad. It's not something I have time to cover today. It will be appealed that he will win. Well, the fact is he's still the first ex-president to be held responsible for sexual assault. So great. I'm butthurt. Trump. Yeah. You got a point there. You got a point. I am butthurt that he doesn't return my calls. So I got to give you love for that. You went from writing a book about indicting the whole government, the concept of government, yes, to your fetish of Donald Trump. Is it a fetish? No, not really a fetish. It's if there's a fetish involved here, it has to do with holding bullies accountable. And I admit I may have a character flaw in my complete disdain for bullies. I'm working on it. It's a personal issue I'm working on. What's your thoughts on Joe Biden and his son's laptop? If there's evidence of crime, prosecute. He loves Joe Biden. Now, actually, no. Mark, where are the murder and child elements of this case? Make things up. No, I was making a... I was what I said there, and this is the beauty of having this recorded. I didn't say that there were murder and child elements to this particular case. Trump was saying that rape was the worst charge you can make against somebody, and I just was floating the idea that as bad as rape is, there are worse charges like rape and murder. That's what I said. So, Islip is nice. There's some nice parts of Islip. Mark, when we get a copy of Adventures, in the description, you can get the ebook. You can get the ebook Adventures. So go to the description. To be honest, Mark has lost it. He's gone from an anarchist to a Democrat. Vax it up, buddy. Yep. 3 times. 3 times. Apparently you haven't watched the streams when we talk about anarchy. Anarchy is just a belief, or as an anarchist, being an anarchist is having the belief and not having rulers. So I've not changed that at all. Troll, yeah. Mark, I remember when Mark Stevens was all about fighting for justice and a fraudulent. Yeah, I'm still talking about that stuff. I'm just not personally helping because, as I've explained before, it's extremely, mentally draining to deal with IRS. I did that for 20 years. I never want to speak to an IRS agent again, ever. So I don't get personally involved with court cases. We will discuss legal principles. I did a whole damn show about the Socratic method and being a better and sharpening cross-examination skills. So, Team of Angels, maybe you're not remembering just the last damn stream. It was about Socrates and cross-examination. I've talked about the burden of proof recently. So, didn't Mark quit his RBN podcast because they had a show about Jews versus Jesuits? I don't remember what happened with RBN. I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that. I'm trying to get... I'm still the same guy, but... have you ever used bikes and bullets? Have you ever used the defense of Section 83 in the tax code? No. My position was to always attack the allegation being made. So an agent makes an allegation, and according to their rules, fairness and due process or whatnot, they're supposed to have facts to back that up. So I was always attacking the factual basis of the allegation that was made. So if I was going to be referring to a law that was showing, for the defense, it was almost always a due process violation. So, Section 83, I didn't get into interpretation of the code. I was always attacking the application as far as does the agent have any evidence to support the argument or the opinion, the claim? Zoo Brooks, again, there's a lot going on here. I'm losing the function of my kitchen because of a pipe broke in my wall. I'm really not able to spend the time. I'm going to try to get with Calvin, who, thanks to Calvin, he's a big help, and wasn't able to join me tonight, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So, just be patient there. You guys want to help, you can do so in the description. That would really help. That having some support that way would really help, because it is a tech issue. And so jurisdiction is a prerequisite of the code. Well, jurisdiction to proceed is, any government agency, it doesn't matter what the agency is, they have to have jurisdiction to act. So that was always a big one. That was always part of the accusation. Piping is a simple plumbing fix. It's in the wall. It's in the wall. It's under my counters. It's really bad. Hey, ripping the wall out and all that, once that's exposed, I can fix the pipes. I've done that. That's my first real job was as a plumber, so I can do that. But it's my outside wall, my inside walls. It's really bad. So I am rerouting new piping we might have to, but we'll see once we get that opened up. So I'm getting the alarm signal here. My camera is going to die in a couple minutes, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Yeah, I know. I got to open up the outside wall. It's the side of my house. It's just not. This is not a simple fix. I wish it was, but alas, it is a worst case scenario. So I will keep people updated for whatever reason. If you're interested, I will do that. The water's not going in anymore. It's not an issue. So anyway, big week so far. Catastrophic plumbing failure notwithstanding. Donald Trump, first ex-president to be held responsible for defamation, sexual assault, and hopefully this is that and the criminal charges of falsifying business records. That is the tip of the iceberg, that this piece of garbage spends the rest of his life fighting indictments, and maybe there'll be some justice and he'll actually spend at least a day in prison where he belongs and where he deserves to die. And George Santos, over a dozen fraud charges. So it's nice to see one of these government types held to some accountability. And again, I hope it's just the tip of the iceberg, that just as the shootings and the killings in Texas have just keep going up and up and up, we'll keep getting more and more indictments of government types like congressmen. That would be great. So, hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in today. I will be back on Monday at 7 Arizona time. So, till then, salud.